Baseball season is here at last, and the excitement continues all season long at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Why wait until the end of the season to claim victory when you can win huge cash every day? Hurry to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code PARDON to play for free. You could win part of the $300 million in prizes being awarded this season. Enter PARDON for free entry now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. I've been off for a week, Tony. Has anything changed around there?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Yes, instead of toilet paper, we're using your pocket squares.
I locked up my pocket squares. I took them away. You can't get to them.
No, we got them. They feel great. They're very absorbent.
Yeah.
And they're only like about $50 each. So you feel fabulous when you use them.
And these are like Uranus jokes now. They're tiresome.
Throw them away. No, they're not tiresome even a little bit. Welcome to our only PTI of the week, boys and girls. In today's episode, rumors of a Jay Cutler, Marcus Mariota trade, Tiger shooting a front 930, and most importantly, will fans be able to relieve themselves at Wrigley Field tonight? But we begin today with a post-mortem of last night's NCAA championship. Duke won, Wisconsin whined. Bo Ryan blasted the referees for allowing more contact than he felt Wisconsin had seen all season, and Ryan had an implicit criticism of Mike Krzyzewski, saying Wisconsin, quote, doesn't do rent-a-players, unquote. Wilbon, does Bo Ryan have a legitimate objection to the way the game was reffed and the type of squad that he faced?
Tony, I didn't see anything last night that I found objectionable other than the refereeing in total. The whole tournament, the refereeing is awful. I mean, I can't say this strongly enough. It's awful. And it's awful game after game after game. It was awful in the Final Four. It was awful last night. But it was awful for everybody. So I didn't see Duke being awarded some advantage. I didn't see the play being any more physical than the play I watched courtside in the Big Ten all year, which is considerably more physical, I think, than the ACC. Yeah. So I didn't see that. I didn't think he criticized Mike Krzyzewski at all. He said, we're not doing rental players one and done. He didn't say it was bad for anybody else. He said it was fine for other people, so I would take exception with that. But, Tony, the game was lost when Wisconsin had a chance to claim it, to grasp it. They had the best player on the court in Frank Kaminsky, but Duke had more good players. Duke had more good players than Wisconsin had, and that is a credit to Duke.
I would say that Bo Ryan was a little bit less than gracious. I would agree with you that the Big Ten is a football conference.
Yes,
if you don't learn to play physically in the Big Ten, where are you going to learn it? The Big East, not a football conference, but very physical in basketball, and the Big Ten. So I don't buy that at all. I mean, I really don't. And in terms of, the squad versus the other squad, his team got beat. He had a great run. I'm going to tell you something, Mike. This tournament is not going to be remembered ultimately for the fact that Duke beat Wisconsin. It's going to be remembered ultimately for the fact that Wisconsin beat Kentucky. That's the headline of the tournament. Wisconsin did a great job, but they got beat by a team that, when it had to be better, was better last night.
Tony, the thing about the Duke teams in the Mike Krzyzewski 35-year era, that the thread that connects all of them to me, is their poise. I mean, you got guys out in foul trouble with 2 fouls. Krzyzewski's got to sit them down. Yeah. He's got to manage the minutes. And freshmen come out of nowhere. They have poise. They always do. And that's the credit to Duke.
I'm going to say this about Mike Krzyzewski. He's got 5 championships now. That's more than anybody other than John Wooden.
That's right.
He is right there with John Wooden. Some people will make the case that when John Wooden won all those championships, there was strict geographic regions, and there were only 16 or 32 teams. I'm not going to put him ahead of John Wooden, but he's right there with John Wooden.
Tony, he's next. And, if John Wooden is by himself, then Krzyzewski's next by himself.
He may be.
The number one sidebar coming out of that championship game is the performance of Jahlil Okafor, whose measly 10 points and 3 rebounds and 22 foul-plagued minutes is confounding a lot of draft watchers. A month after being the popular overall number 1 pick projection, Okafor was put in the spin cycle by Frank Kaminsky, who's projected to go in the teens. Tone, if Okafor got abused by Kaminsky, what's going to happen against Anthony Davis or Pau Gasol? Do you still see Okafor as the top pick in the upcoming draft?
I don't know if he's the number 1 pick because Karl Anthony Towns had a very good tournament. It's possible that at number 2, somebody could come around and they would want D'Angelo Russell of Ohio State or maybe Justice Winslow of Duke. It's possible. But Okafor is not going to drop worse than 3. He's not. The troubling statistic to me, last night was he had 0 defensive rebounds. He's going to go into a league where everybody is as big and as strong as he is, and for the first couple of years, stronger than he is. You've got to be able to get defense. You didn't get any. You have to get defensive rebounds in the NBA. You have to.
Tony, it was more troubling to me than that if I'm looking at this and projecting. And Okafor has had a fine career.
Yes.
He just anchored a team that won a national championship. So I don't want to get too carried away with criticism of Okafor. But Kaminsky, Tone, if Kaminsky is not fast enough and explosive enough and strong enough to play in the league, and I read some code into that, if you will, then if he's simply being passed by Kaminsky all the time, what happens when he plays Boogie Cousins? What happens when he plays people that we know can explode to the basket? I mean, I don't expect Okafor to come back to Duke. It looks like he's a goner, a true one-and-done guy.
He's gone.
But, Tony, if you're projecting, and that's what we do now.
Well, let's go
to this. The little boy season is over and the big boy season is upon us. We have to project.
Let's go to Kaminsky and those exact numbers. And Okafor, by the way, his first foul was ridiculous. Early in the game, he turned, he lowered his shoulder and tried to drive Kaminsky into Ohio. All right, and he got a charge. That's charge in the NBA. That's charge anywhere. But here are the numbers you're talking about. He outscored him 21-10. He out-rebounded him 12-3. So Sam Decker did not have a good night, and Jahlil Okafor did not have a good night. Not last.
Does it say more, by the way, about Kaminsky or Okafor, the Final Four performance in last night? Which one does it say more about?
Kaminsky on the biggest stage played really well.
He was a star.
2 games in a row.
He was a star. He was.
Perhaps the most surprising thing about last night's game was that John Calipari wasn't coaching in it. His Wildcats were the popular favorites to win the championship and go 40-0, but Wisconsin took care of that in the semifinal. Wilbon, historically, how will we look at this Kentucky team, and do you feel bad for Calipari?
I do not. Calipari is a great coach. He's been one. He's going to continue to be one. He's going to make lots of money and recruit lots of kids or recruit them to the NBA. John Calipari's fine. Now, Kentucky's going to be remembered, at least by me, like those other great teams that got deep into the tournament and could not finish, like UNLV trying to go for a back-to-back situation, like Georgetown 1985 going for back-to-back beaten by Villanova, like the Houston Phi-Slamma-Jamma teams that were beaten by Cinderella NC State. There's a laundry list of those kinds of teams, Tony, and to me, you add Kentucky, a great team that could not finish, but nonetheless, a great team.
I will say that Kentucky got beat by a better team that night, plain and simple. That's what happened. Wisconsin was better than they were on that particular night.
That's right.
To me, where do we rate them historically? You rate them with teams that they didn't close. They didn't finish. I told you for months that I thought that they didn't have enough close games against good teams in the SEC. The SEC is not the ACC. It's not the Big Ten. They beat Notre Dame, and that was a tough test. And then the next time they played, they got beat by a good team from a better conference. So, I mean, I don't want to hear complaints. In terms of Calipari, here's the only thing I will say. I think this now complicates whether or not he will go to the pros right away. Mike, he could have walked on a 40-0. He could have established that team as one of the greats of all time. Now he's 1-2 in championship games. He's been to 6 Final Fours. His record isn't all that great. It doesn't demand the NBA takes him back. He may have an itch to come back and win on the college level. What do you think?
Well, Tony, he may. And it depends on how many, perhaps, of those kids he can bring back because they could win next year.
Well, he'll always get new players.
But, Tony, the NBA doesn't have to demand. One team has to say to Coach Cal, we'd like you to come here. Recruit some of those players you get to the NBA, to the next level.
Yeah.
But we're going to pay you even more money than Kentucky. Because as rich as Kentucky is, we got more money than Kentucky. So if he wants to go, Tony, he will. But I'm like you. I think this sort of, it calms the talk for now.
No, I think that's true. I do.
Tony, I'm about to get indigestion. Because we have to talk about Jay Cutler.
Your boy.
Yeah, sometimes. Jason Cole in Bleacher Report says the Bears are seriously thinking about trading Cutler to the Titans in order to move up and select Marcus Mariota at number 2 in the draft. Does this make sense, Tony, for the Bears, the Titans, both, or neither?
I think it makes sense for everybody involved. I think it makes great sense for Tennessee. I know it's very fashionable to knock Jay Cutler, and you people in Chicago slam the guy. I get that. But he's a solid professional quarterback. He's better than what Tennessee has. Much better. Tennessee at the moment has Zach Mettenberger, and they got Charlie Whitehurst, who has the fabulous nickname of Clipboard Jesus. Okay, so Jay Cutler is he's going to be 32 years old. He's got 4, 5, 6 years left. He's much better than them. Tennessee will probably get draft picks as a result of this. Makes sense.
Multiple.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense for the Bears because I listen to you a lot. And everybody in Chicago hates Jay Cutler, and they want him out. So take a chance on a kid, maybe good, maybe great, maybe a bust, but you hate Cutler so much, get another guy.
Really, I hate him so much. Then why am I going to answer the question we're talking about now by saying it makes no sense for the Bears? Okay? Matt Forte.
But you hate him.
Listen to me. I don't hate him. I hate him on
Sunday
afternoons right around 3:15
You called me up. You'd say, I hate him.
Listen to me. I'm a fan. I'm an idiot when it comes to this. Matt Forte, 29 years old. All right? And he's the most important player on that offense. Martellus Bennett, the tight end, maybe now the number 2 player with Brandon Marshall gone, 28 years old. Even Alshon Jeffrey, 25. This is a veteran team with a veteran offense, Tony. You don't bring in some kid who may not be half of Jay Cutler. I want to keep Jay Cutler. I want the new staff to coach him up. That's why they're hired. John Fox has brought in his offensive coordinator and quarterback guru. So coach up Cutler. He's got it in him. Bring it out of him. I want to keep Jay Cutler. Are you listening to me?
This
makes no sense for the Bears.
Nonsense I've ever heard from you.
It makes no sense for the Bears.
There's not a Sunday in the last 3 years when you haven't called me and said, I hate him. The Masters.
3:15 Central.
The Masters begins in 2 days, and all eyes at Augusta are on Tiger Woods. He's been on the course the last 2 days. One report had him shooting a 30 on the front 9 yesterday. For his part, Tiger says he's excited to play and, more important, ready. Quote, my game is finally ready to compete at this level, the highest level. I worked my ass off, unquote. But professional scold Hank Haney writes in Golf Digest that Tiger has the yips chipping and yips are not miraculously cured. Mike, what is your realistic expectation for Tiger at the Masters?
To be out there at 1:40, whatever it is, Eastern time on Thursday. That's it.
How about Saturday?
Listen, Saturday, no. I don't. You said expectations, Tony. Look,
right.
Tony, you know what? There are 3 athletes that I have been obsessed with in terms of just watching everything they do, reading, listening to, obsessed. I didn't miss. Ali in my formative years, Michael Jordan, certainly professionally and personally since he played in my hometown, and Tiger Woods. And the first 2 had comebacks. The comebacks made their stories ultimately, both Ali and Jordan. I've been hoping for Tiger to have a comeback. I hope he has that comeback. But, Tony, I'm not expecting it. How can you expect it? He can't chip from the fairway. He's chipping like you and me from the fairway. No expectations. I don't have them.
I've been looking at him, when they show him on the various networks. I've been looking at him. And he's smiling all the time. And he's hugging people.
Great.
He's hugging players. He's hugging caddies.
Sounds great.
Who is this guy? It's a completely different guy than we're used to. So I'm going the distance here. I think he can win. I mean, I know that's insane.
2 years ago,
you
did this whole thing. You had Tiger winning. Look, at least
it would be the greatest story in the history of golf. Be a better story than when Ben Hogan won one of those majors after the car accident.
Jack at 46. It'd be a great story.
Great story if he can win. It's an important tournament to him. Mike, if he doesn't make the cut, I think we might not see him again.
We'll see him again.
It all on
Tony,
Justin doesn't make.
I don't know if you watched it, but Tiger's press conference today. I was hanging on every word.
He's happy.
For me, it's Ali, Jordan, and Tiger.
But
Tony, he's got the yips. Did Ali or Jordan have the yips?
He shot a 30 on the front.
No, he didn't. He didn't shoot 30. Get that out of here.
Let's take a break. But coming up, what's the bigger deal for the Yankees? The warm welcome for A-Rod or Tanaka's struggles?
And how about the Cubbies' backed-up bathrooms? That was unforgivable. But was that the biggest opening day embarrassment in baseball?
Why do you think he didn't shoot 30? Why?
He didn't shoot. They don't putt. Because you ever see pro...
Baseball season is here at last, and the excitement continues all season long at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Why wait until the end of the season to claim victory when you can win huge cash every day? Hurry to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code PARDON to play for free. You could win part of the $300 million in prizes being awarded this season. Enter PARDON for free entry now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
It's time for toss-up. The rules, as always, Wilbon tries, but I win. What's first?
Toss-up, bigger deal for the Yankees. The warm welcome for A-Rod or Tanaka's struggles?
Yeah, that warm welcome for A-Rod by the fans is probably puzzling to Yankees management, considering he was a serial cheater. But that doesn't even come close to the legitimate problem that Tanaka isn't the pitcher that they thought he was with all the money they paid for him. He didn't use his fastball yesterday nearly as much as he used it last year, and it wasn't nearly as fast as it was last year, and he gave up five runs in 4 innings, and that is concerning to the Yankees.
It's Tanaka, Tony. The warm welcome shocked me. I don't know how confused management was. I was surprised because I know in New York they can get on you pretty quickly and pretty easily. But, Tony, Tanaka's their ace now.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the guy, which is why they tried him out there when they did. And, Tony, the reason he didn't use the fastball as much is if it's down, as reported, as far as from 93 miles an hour or 94 to the upper 80s.
No, not good enough.
89, that's not going to
Not good enough.
That's called a minor league fastball that's going out.
Next.
Toss-up, who would you rather see win tonight, Notre Dame or UConn?
I mean, I'd rather see UConn. I think they're a dynasty that is good for their sport. I think they're like the Yankees. They're a team that you love to love and you love to hate. And no offense to Muffet McGraw, she's not a figure on the level of Gino Auriemma. I was surprised, though, Mike, to learn that in Final Fours, Notre Dame has a 3-2 edge over Connecticut. That did surprise me.
Yeah, Tony, you know what? I don't have a horse in this race. It's everything you said about UConn is true. But the only way you get to be a national figure and you approach Gino Auriemma is you win. And Connecticut is the best thing, not just a really good thing, the best thing for women's college basketball. But if you're going to have more than just that, and you always talk about how that sport has no depth, then Muffet McGraw, who's not scared of taking on Gino.
That's right.
Not scared of taking a swing.
That's
if
right.
Notre Dame wins, Tony, it ups it for everybody and going into next year,
So you want
too.
Notre Dame?
So I'm not going to say I
UConn.
want them. I think it's best for college basketball if Notre Dame wins tonight.
Next.
Toss-up, they play tonight. Who would you rather have in today's NBA, Steph Curry or Anthony Davis?
Traditionally, I would pick the big man because I've watched in my life Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Shaquille O'Neal. When you have the best big man, you usually win. Today's NBA is different. It's not as powerful. There's more finesse to it. If you give me a guy who can make 50% of his threes and turn the ball over to someone else who can make their threes, I'm going to take them. So as great as Anthony Davis is and will be, I will take Steph Curry.
Tone, this year, for certain, I'm taking Steph Curry, who right now is my MVP. Anthony Davis, though, Tone, I'm not going to say the game is going to go so far away from the big man that Anthony Davis can't have the same impact. Now, first, he can't miss the 15 games or so he's already missed. Steph Curry, I think, has missed 1 game. Maybe his coach sat him out an additional game. But he blocks shots, he rebounds. He also does things to facilitate his teammates. Still, having said that,
Yeah.
Steph Curry.
He hasn't been in the playoffs yet, and Dwight Howard has never been impactful, and he's been the best center for a long time.
Never. They got to
Next.
the finals. Never.
Did he win
really.
anything? Did he win
Never.
anything? Next.
Last one, toss-up, more embarrassing opening day goof-up, the Marlins or the Cubs?
The Cubs are embarrassed because they're going through renovation and their bathrooms apparently don't work. And that's why God invented, beer
the porta
cups.
potty?
Beer
Or a
cups.
corner?
So that they just do what they have to do and then leave the beer cups in the aisle.
Yeah.
The more embarrassing thing is the Marlins putting the roof back. It rains every day in South Florida in the spring and in the summer. How stupid are these people to leave the roof open so that they get rained on and they have to have a delay?
It's rain. Who cares? It's rain in South Florida. You just said they do it every day. What you don't want is you don't want the golden shower. That's what you don't want. And in Wrigley Field, what do they do? Look, Tony, I've spent more time. I used to leave high school early, go sit in Wrigley Field. I'm not going there until July. It's not ready for baseball. Neither, by the way, the Cubs, who had 5 hits despite all this hype. I'd like to see them just score a run.
Tremendous.
A run
They're
today
0-1. You
would be
buried
great.
them.
The
You
Cubs
buried them
were
at
most
0-1.
embarrassing.
Fabulous. Great
Golden
fan.
showers,
That's
no.
it. You saw it. Wilbon has a glass jaw. Let's take one last break, but still to come. Did umpire Joe West blow it on this debatable strike call? It's a bad call.
And LaShawn McCoy says Chip Kelly doesn't respect his star players. Does it matter if McCoy's right?
What happened to
Who cares
Midwestern
about the star players?
hospitality? You mean they're pouring beer cups of what they have relieved themselves in on their fans? Is that what they're
I
doing?
didn't say that.
Program note, we are bumped by the Masters for the rest of the week, and we will be back on Monday, April 13th to talk about Tiger's 5th green jacket. Let's get happy, people. Happy 29th birthday tomorrow to Felix Hernandez, the Seattle Mariners ace. Opened the season at home, giving up a home run to Mike Trout. The but giving up only one more hit and striking out 10 over 7 innings. Wilbon and I believe in W's. We've criticized the analytics frenzy over King Felix, but this is a good start.
It is. You play to win the game, not to impress advanced analytic nerds. That's why you play.
Happy anniversary to Syracuse University. On this day 12 years ago, the Orangemen, led by freshman Carmelo Anthony and Jerry McNamara, who hit 6 threes in the first half, won the national championship over Kansas. For all the sanctions levied on the Syracuse basketball program last month, Syracuse got to keep this well-deserved title.
Tony, sanctioned or not, if somebody mentioned to you that championship game, you're going to remember Carmelo Anthony. Not whether it's in somebody's record book and whether it counts, but that performance.
Happy trails to Torrey Hunter, the veteran center fielder who's back in Minnesota where his career started, was called out for the final out by Cowboy Joe West yesterday. The pitch was out of the strike zone, and West refused to ask for help on what appeared to be a legitimate check swing. Hunter then blasted West and will surely be fined.
He should have blasted him, and West is an egomaniac, and you shouldn't call that a strike, because it's not a strike.
No errors today. Do not try us. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Former Baylor coach Dave Bliss, the new head coach at Southwestern Christian in the NAIA. Okay by you?
Tony, he's done some heinous things that I don't know that people can get past. I don't know. Avery Johnson, the new head coach at Alabama. Good choice?
I don't know. I feel the same way that I feel about Chris Mullen at St. John's. They're pro guys. Can they recruit? Can they make that happen? LaShawn McCoy tells the Philly Inquirer that Chip Kelly doesn't respect his star players. Do you agree?
Probably. And star players, he should be in the NBA. They don't care about stars except for Golden Boy quarterbacks in the NFL. TMZ reports that Floyd Mayweather's mouthpiece is lined with real $100 bills, yo. You impressed?
No, it's stupid. You're ripping them up. You're shredding them. You're shredding money. It's dumb. Last one, Caroline Wozniacki and J.J. Watt back together last night's title game. Something or nothing.
What's something is that J.J. Watt's Wisconsin Badgers lost the national championship. I'm sure it made him weep.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon, back on Monday, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Bartman, Reeves, Maxson, I apologize.
ESPN Radio.
With the action on the court, the diamond, or the gridiron.
Comes alive.
The NBA.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Major League Baseball.
San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
The new college football playoff.
College football playoff national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Your home for the best in sports play-by-play.
ESPN Radio.